Good morning and happy Saturday to everybody out there. Week 41 of PB Sports Talk Show. Jam-packed show, lots to unpack. I'm excited, and I'll share some of the reasons why. Just absolutely blessed and amazed by the support that's come on in over the last month, overnight even. Many subscribers on YouTube. So very happy about that. Without all of you, none of the inspiration, none of any of this would be possible. It wouldn't be worth doing. It would just be a hobby and not something that can turn into something much more. So thank you to everybody. Glad you're joining us. If you're not live on the live stream now and you're watching the recording later, thank you very much again for joining and watching it at your speed, at your pace throughout your day or weekend. Remember to, if you like what you're hearing, smash the subscribe button, join the channel on YouTube, follow on X, and follow on Facebook. Lots of things going on behind the scenes. I'll touch on a couple of those here in a moment, but you'll wanna get locked in because this is going to be a hell of a ride, and I look forward to doing it together with all of you. So thank you again. Got a fun show lined up here, as I said. Topics and takes, a little bit different screen for those of you who have done it, have followed in the past. I'll make an important announcement, actually, a couple of them, in a couple of minutes. We'll go over Cooper Flagg's highly anticipated debut in Summer League, Jared Goff, and his appearance on Quarterbacks for the Netflix special. Luke Fromm there in the bottom left. We'll talk about him in a minute. LeBron and all of that drama that's going on. And then over to the other side here, undertakes the Angel Reese, I guess if you want to call it controversy. I did a major poll, and I'll share that all with you. Small, it's not I wouldn't say a major poll, but I did a poll, and it's got a good amount of votes to the question. I'll show that. Aiden Huthcinson, the Lions pick up the 5th-year option, are negotiating a long-term deal, so that's great. Caitlin Clark was back in action this week, 2 games, including last night. The Redskins, should it be the Commanders or the Redskins? And maybe we'll throw in a couple of different topics down on the bottom. So, important announcement. It's twofold, and let me start with this. The gentleman down in the bottom left hand corner there, which is Luke. Let me change the graphic here. I coached, for those of you who don't know and haven't seen him on the show a couple of times, I coached Luke in 2014-15 in 8th grade and following in AAU. He's the greatest player I ever coached, and there's a couple that are close, but he's the greatest player I ever coached and one of the finest people I've ever coached and ever known at that age. When I met him, he was 15, I believe, 14, 15, in that range, and then up into AAU. Before he went on to star at De La Salle High School in Warren, Michigan, the famous De La Salle, where he became a 2-time All-State athlete, student athlete, won All-State prestigious honor in basketball and won in football as a quarterback, state champion as a football quarterback. You can see it there on the writing. But one of the really unique things about here is Luke and I, in the very beginning, there was a bit of a clash because he was used to a certain type of style and I was the opposite of that style. And the style and the way we go about ourselves and the way that we work, the way that we perform, attitude, etc. We've talked about that on previous shows, and when we have him here again in the future, we'll talk about that some more. But I thought that we've stayed in touch over the years, and now we actually both live in Florida, which is really unique in that we both lived in Michigan. We met in Michigan, and I coached him in Michigan, and now we both reside in Florida. It's kind of crazy, but after some thinking, had him on the show and he did a nice job, and had him on the show again and he did an even better job. And I thought to myself, all right, I'm 53 and he's 25. What better way to bring something different to the audience than to have somebody from my generation and somebody from his generation and bring two perspectives age-wise, but also two perspectives in that I played and coached, and he hasn't coached yet. Maybe that's in his future. We'll see. We'll talk to Luke more about that. But we've reunited now, and that Luke is going to be a major contributor to the show and to the platform going forward, and I am so very excited about it. We announced it earlier in the week. but I wanted to make sure to cover that on the show because I'm really, really excited about this. Again, the dynamic, the dimension of it. He's just he loves sports. That's basically his true love in life. It's basically, other than my wife, it's my true love in life too. Business is big for me. Entrepreneurship is big for me. Has been a huge part of my life, 35 years. But sports growing up as a kid, it's what I'm doing right now is what I've always wanted to do in my life. And in talking about this with Luke, he would love to be able to do this. Now it has to make sense and it's got to all, fit financially and to be able to make a living at it. It is not easy to do. What I do is not easy, and it's building and it's growing. And hopefully it can turn into something to where, this is literally his dream and what he does every day. And it's my dream and what I do every day. And hopefully we can put that together and make this something extraordinary. And again, it'll all come down to you folks out there, and it'll come down to us and the content that we deliver, and that is it significant enough in a very saturated space to make a difference in people's lives. I'm convinced that it can. In fact, I know that it can, because I did it in sports as a coach. I did it in business as an entrepreneur. Luke did it at a very high level as a player in both high school and college. And, he's done a good job at a couple times on the show. So I think together we will build something that people will follow, that people will like, and it's different. Okay. So when you're in a saturated space, you can't just do the same things as everybody else. So again, 25 and 53, coach and player reunited. Now, this isn't like so many of the other podcasts out there where most of the people are the same age. We are going to bring a vast approach in that Luke's, and this is another unique thing, is I'm a huge Michael Jordan guy. I think he's the greatest of all time. And Luke thinks LeBron James is the greatest of all time. Now, why would that be? There's no question that one of the main reasons that is the era he grew up in versus the era I grew up in. So that gives you a good example. Not that two people that are 53 can't disagree and one could choose LeBron and one could choose Jordan, but it is the dynamic and perspective of it and where it came from. He grew up on LeBron James, right? He's 25 years old, so born in 2000. I was born in 72 and Michael Jordan came to the NBA in 84. So we both grew up under two different megastars, and Kobe was mixed in the middle of that. And it's like, so it's just life. It's overall perspective. It's that it's closer to his playing career, his past playing career than it is to mine. It's more, he had a more successful playing career than I did. So he can actually speak to coaches, to parents, to players on what he went through. And one of the biggest things that I support in life is the why. The why to everything is the most important thing we do. Why did I make that mistake? Why did I succeed? Why did things go that way? And so I can talk to you from coaching him. He can talk for playing for me and some of the things we had to break. Why was he doing things he was previously? How were we going to get it to change? When we had success together, why did that happen? And how do we make it last and be sustainable and go for longer periods of time? And then after he was out from underplaying for me, he and Coach Essler and other folks brought it, from there and took it to a whole nother level. So the evolution, and that's another thing too that's very big to me, is the evolution in our lives and us as people. It's a constant growth objective each and every day. And those that really focus on that really grow as people, not just players, not just coaches, but as people, as brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, right? As employees, as coaches, players, in every form and facet of life, it's about evolution. We either get better or we get worse. We never stay the same. And Luke is a great testament to where he was to where he is now. Folks, it's night and day. I scouted him for a couple of years and I thought to myself, all right, he's coming up to where I'm going to be coaching. And, we need to have a conversation. And it just to watch him evolve. And then now to be able to take that to all of you. So excited. So Luke Fromm will be joining the show. We'll announce that a schedule here very, very soon, but it's coach and player reunited. And we're going to come at you. He's a huge football guy too, right? You have to understand, you can go on the YouTube channel again at PB Sports Talk, and you'll see on there him getting crushed from Aiden Huthcinson. They played against each other in high school. Aiden at Divine Child and Luke at De La Salle. You'll also see him playing against Sauce Gardner. You'll also see him playing at against a number of other players that went on to play pro ball someplace. So, and by the way, the Aiden Huthcinson smash hit that you'll see, he threw a 50-yard touchdown or 45-yard touchdown pass. And people are pretty much raving about that online. So again, a 25-year-old guy to be able to say he played against Aiden Huthcinson but didn't do it in the pros. He can even talk about Aiden's growth and what they prepared for in that game. So really, really cool perspective that we're going to show you. I am so very excited about it. And stay tuned. We'll keep you posted. There'll be a number of different videos and reels as we, more formally introduce Luke and then get him on a regular schedule going forward. The second part of the special announcement, and this will come down on Tuesday, potentially Monday, but more than likely Tuesday, right around noontime. And I can't get into the details too much. They're not finalized just quite yet. So I don't want to give it away. Got to keep you guys on the edge of your seat a little bit. But Tuesday, there's going to be a rollout of a brand new platform that meshes with everything that you folks have seen for 41 weeks. And now the mini explosion that PB Sports Talk has seen on YouTube and all the followers coming in now. And I mean, I can't even keep up with the comments all day. This platform and what we do is going to be everything all in one place. That's going to give you the opportunity to follow, to comment, to learn, to grow, to get, private access, membership access. It's an incredible format. Again, I can't get into too much of the details, but fully it can be working hard over the weekend to finalize that. And then into Monday, and then Tuesday, it'll be rolled out. It will be published. It will be posted out, and everybody could take it from there. So again, stay tuned. I'll put together a video that explains everything, how it works, what it's all about, why it's different, what benefits are in it for you, different levels that you can be a member at, and why it makes sense in other levels, and just how you get involved. And I just think this is going to be a ton of fun. Again, the younger people I expect to come in droves because of Luke. Maybe some of the middle people and the older people come maybe because they are relatable to my background and my history. And so just so very, very excited. I literally cannot wait. This is just, it's almost a pinch me moment. So really, really happy about that. All right. So let's get into Cooper Flagg here and his, as I said, his highly anticipated debut was this week for the Dallas Mavs. Ironically, they played the Lakers, and you see LeBron James' son right there. Listen, I don't know how better to say this. I've said it before. I'll say it again. The league is in such need of someone dynamic like this. We're talking 6'9". The guy is so versatile. He is so agile. That dunk that you see there on your screen, he took it from the opposing foul line, basically, and grabbed a loose ball and took it the distance for the one-handed tomahawk there. He can do everything. We can never, ever forget that this guy's 19 years old. So his entire future is ahead of him. He'll have his Brocky moments here in Summer League. It doesn't, I'd never put much into Summer League or into rookie camps in the NFL. I had a lot of conversation online about that. And, they're doing stats. They're doing these crazy stats between Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Pickett. And it's like, you guys, it's rookie camp. There's no pads on. There's no nothing. This is actually a little bit more significant in that this is full out, full speed, game mode, let's go. So you can actually draw a little bit more than this than you can in a 7-on-7 type format in football. So, what we saw the other night is his shooting percentage was terrible. I thought it was, I think it was 5 of 19, something like that. That's way below his standard. That's nerves. That's, trying to get up a lot of shots. He's feeling like he needs to mark his moment, and probably felt like he needed to impress. Probably were some fans and family there. That's not an easy moment. He'll snap out of that. It'll become more normal here in the next little bit. Plus, you have the dynamic and the facet of it's LeBron James' son trying to guard you. He's 6'3", you're 6'9", and they're going at it. So, that's actually a good test, and you get that out of the way now, and you just become adjusted to it, and it becomes very real, and you're here now. So I would expect over the next couple of 2, 3, 4 of these, you'll see him start to fit and form into more of who well, we already know who he is, but that he belongs now, and that he has a spot, and he'll grow it from there. So I thought that this was still very, very encouraging. We already know what he can do. And I think we all believe and understand that it translates to the next level. Whereas some guys, you know, you question, can this really translate? Is the person good enough to play at the next level, or are they more just of a college type level and never really amount to anything? I think we know that he is going to be a star. I think many of us believe he's going to be a superstar. He has every intangible. He has the mental aspect of it. And by the way, as we go forward, you will hear a lot about the mental aspect of a player, of a coach, of parents, and what it takes to mesh it all into life. So you'll probably see this phrase a lot: life, sports, and business. It's all connected. Real quick, somebody once said to me in the gym, they knew that I owned a business, and they said, you kind of run this like your business, don't you? And I said, as a matter of fact, I do. There's different nuances to it, but at the core, running any team, whether it's a business or a team, is like that. And in this case, Cooper is a person, and he's an employee of the Dallas Mavericks, and they're running it not only as a team but as a business. So you'll see a lot of that as well between Luke and I, and we'll give you all the different angles and the whys behind why a franchise would do what they did, why guys like Nico Harrison would get rid of Luka like he did, why the Lakers are doing what they're doing with LeBron right now, and we'll talk to that point here in a little minute, but in a minute. But really exciting to see this finally happen, and I look forward to his growth here over time. Really awesome stuff, and wish him well. And again, I think the league really needs him. And just a side point, the jersey number he has was my jersey number. So I have an extra little liking of Cooper for that reason. It's Magic Johnson's number also. So pretty cool stuff there. All right, moving on to Jared Goff, lifelong Detroiter here. I'm 53, just turned last month, and until 6 months ago or 5 months ago, whatever it is, I lived in Detroit my whole life. Lions will be with me forever. That's number one team. That'll never ever change. Sorry, Florida teams, you'll always be somewhere second, third down the list. But the Netflix special came out, the quarterback season 2, almost said year 2, season 2, with Burrow, Cousins, and Goff. And I just had to touch on this, and I'm getting goosebumps right now. I got goosebumps during the show. Have you ever in your life not been wanted? Has somebody at some point in your life ever moved on from you? Maybe it's a boyfriend, maybe it's a girlfriend, maybe it's a wife, maybe it's a husband, maybe it's an employer, where they just decided that you're no longer a fit for them. I think we can all of us will experience that at some time and some point in our life. If you haven't yet, you're likely to do that. And Jared Goff, again, when I talk about life and sports and business are all connected, this is a perfect example of the why behind it. If you haven't watched it, I highly, highly encourage you to watch it. This is an incredible success story. It's an incredible comeback story. It's an incredible perseverance story. And the whole show wasn't about them. It's about 3 quarterbacks, and it's divvied up in 3. It's basically an hour long, and about 20 minutes or so is dedicated to Jared, his family, his journey, his career with the Rams, which I'm going to talk about here in a second, and then on to the Lions and what he went through mentally and emotionally when leaving the Rams or being traded by the Rams because they no longer wanted him. And they didn't actually communicate with him. And he tells that story about how it all went down and how he felt that he was deserving of a little bit more respect in the process. And he, again, here we go. He talks about he wanted to know why. What was the thinking behind that so that, he would accept it, but that he could move on without question. Now, unfortunately, those things happen in life. There isn't always a why at a certain time. It's maybe later on that you find out. And Jared's a perfect example of don't ever freaking give up. Just don't. And if somebody doesn't like you or somebody doesn't want you or somebody decides to move on from you, it doesn't mean it's the end. And you'll hear a lot about this too, folks. We will talk about this a lot. That's the coach in me. That's the leader, the entrepreneur, the employer. That's all of those things that will come through. And Jared is a great example of a humble guy who really works hard to do things the right way. Looks like he's got a lovely wife and he's building something in his family. And you really root for a guy like this. And he was getting emotional as he was explaining the story because it was a difficult moment in his life when Sean McVay basically made the decision to move on from him. And guess what? It is like, I'm not the only one who went through some crazy stuff during COVID with the business and stuff. He gets traded and his whole career trajectory changes in the middle of COVID. And your mind is all over the place. And then you're like, now this, like, it's a lot to process. It's a lot to work through, and a super, super, super credit to him. So let's look at this here real quick. And, it's shocking that he's already been with the Lions 4 years, and this is 5 coming up here. And, this is something that really bothers me is a lot of people want to say that the credit for Jared Goff's success belongs to Ben Johnson. That irks me. That irks me a lot. Now, you won't find a better or not a better, but a bigger proponent of coaches really make a difference in players' lives than me. Obviously, I coached. The player has to make the plays, the coaches coach, and it has to blend. One can't do it without the other. The coach needs the player needs the coach. And it's very difficult to get a player who buys in with a coach who buys in, mesh that together like the Lions have. It took them 50 years, 60 years, right? They had moments, but they have the true thing right now. And this dude's at the helm. And you cannot underestimate that C on his jersey, folks. You cannot. Most of the time, the quarterbacks get a C on their jersey. Yes. Man, you really can't be a quarterback in the NFL if you don't have the ability to have a captaincy. And sometimes I think the captaincy is given to a quarterback, and I think it's given because they are the quarterback. I don't think it's all deserving, not on all 32 teams. Sorry. But the C on this guy's jersey, it belongs there. And if you want to compare him to Matthew Stafford, fine. But I'll just say this, and I haven't been too kind to Matthew Stafford over the years. I'm actually happy that he had success when he moved on from the Lions. But if you're asking me who I want to lead my team, let's just put the talent aside for a moment. If you're asking me who I really want to lead my team between those two guys in their prime, I want this guy. Dan Campbell said, this is my quarterback, and he's got to say that. All right. Let's just, you want to prop up your guy. You have to prop up your guy. It's what you need to do, but it's real. It's real in the same breath. I don't think he would be the quarterback if he wasn't, because that's just the way that they operate. They have to be guys that are bought in at the quarterback position. You have to be able to lead at a certain level, especially with what that team, when he came, what it was. And it talks about it in the Netflix special, in that he came to the Lions when they were awful. It's a new coach, new GM, new system. And it's like, Matthew Stafford couldn't do it, folks. Okay. You could say the coaches, you could say the GM, you could say that, but Matthew Stafford couldn't do it. And he had Calvin frickin' Johnson. Okay. He had Calvin Johnson. Not a whole lot. No, not a whole lot more needs to be said. Jared Goff had nobody around him, and it all came up with him, basically with him in the 4 years. And he grew with that, and the numbers support that. Is it all Ben Johnson? Hell no. Did Ben Johnson have a part of it? Hell yes. Let's look at his last year, and he went to the Super Bowl with the Rams. Never forget that. And Sean McVay is regarded as one of the most brilliant offensive minds in football, quarterback whisperer, all this kind of stuff. But he couldn't get him, over the top, to that victory. 13-3 in the Super Bowl against New England, underwhelming 3 points. McVay, he can't do that. He wanted Stafford. He got what he wanted. Okay, great. He took a veteran, he plugged him in, they put some pieces around it, and they got over the hump. So good for them and good for Stafford. But this was a match for the Lions in that Goff was coming up. He had success, 2 4,600-yard seasons you can see there. You can see QB rating down in his second and third year over 100. Interception or touchdown to interception ratio 3 and almost 4-1 there. And then you see a drop off in 19 and 20. All right. And then the Lions in 2021 there, you see it's a slow start. There's nothing around you. 67%, 3,200 yards, 19 and 8. And then you see a massive jump into 4,400, 4,500, 4,600. Again, Ben Johnson had a part of that, but talent also had a part of that. But let's not forget that Jared Goff had a part of that. They're running a play action system in a running game, just like Sean McVay was trying to do. In fact, Brad Holmes was there. Brad Holmes is the man responsible for drafting Jared Goff, and it's why he went after him. I mean, that's the ultimate. You want to feel wanted? They call you up. They trade a 10-year quarterback that might go to the Hall of Fame, more than 10, that might go to the Hall of Fame for you. Man, that's a boost right there. That's a pat on the back too. That's a feeling of being wanted. He talks about that. So, but then to take that, to be wanted and then to just produce is totally different. It is a totally different dynamic. Not everybody can produce and perform in that moment. And let's not forget, if you're a Lions fan or if you're not a Lions fan, I think everybody's familiar with a 50, 60-year struggle in a state and in a city that is so hungry for a championship, hasn't experienced it. I'm 53. I never experienced it. I never experienced the Super Bowl. People older than me never experienced the Super Bowl. And you got to the NFC Championship game back in the 90s with Barry Sanders and got the doors blown off of them. And then you got to an NFC Championship with these guys and you were up 17 at half. You lost it. Okay. But you're a whole hell of a lot closer with this group. And it's just exciting. I'm so happy for the guy. And I just, for all the young people out there, again, here comes the coach in me. And it doesn't matter what sport you play. You could play tennis, for crying out loud. You could be a golfer. I don't care what it is. And every one of the sports has a certain story behind it and something you went through. And I just think that this is a role model to follow. When people, I get it every day. Believe me, the last person on this earth I want to talk about is LeBron James. It's like not even worth the breath, all due respect. It's the way the guy has conducted himself and the way he's went through his journey. People don't respect it. They just don't. The younger generation, they like him because of this and that. They grew up on him. And, as Luke would say, he's the one that made me excited about basketball. Okay, fine. But it's like this is a guy who's really trying to do it the right way, respectful, being a great leader, being true and loyal to his team. I mean, LeBron's about ready to go on how many of his team? I call him a journeyman. LeBron the journeyman. I'll save that for a moment. But if you haven't seen Jared Goff's special on Netflix, highly recommend to do it. So happy for the guy. And hey, for those of you who don't know, I'll fill you in on a little secret. 4 years ago, this is going to be the 5th, 3 weeks after Dan Campbell got hired, when a reporter asked him, what about the SOL, which if you don't know meant same old Lions. It was going to be another year where they were, 4-7, and then they ended the season on some kind of run and then got waxed in the playoffs or didn't make the playoffs at all. And he said, I don't ever want to hear that shit around here again. It was at that moment, not the kneecaps off, but bite your kneecaps off. That was not the moment. The moment was, I don't want to hear that shit here anymore. And he set the tone from that moment forward that it was a new era. And then, when he had a horrible first year and horrible second year, I took so much heat. I can't even tell you how much heat I took. Oh, yeah, what a great leader. Oh, yeah, what a great choice. Oh, there's your guy. Oh, yeah, Super Bowl. It was the big joke. So the 5-year prediction, this is it. This is the 5-year prediction. So I think they're going to have a hell of a year. I'm sticking to it. They're going to the Super Bowl this year. And against all odds, against the third toughest schedule in the NFL, and without question, the toughest schedule that they had in this 5-year prediction, 4 years have passed. This is the 5th. And this guy, he's going to lead them, barring any kind of crazy catastrophic injury. I always say that. I'm ready. I'm ready for him to do that. Really, really excited about that. All right. I guess that was a good segue because now we're going to go to this. This guy says to me yesterday, he actually took a video. This is kind of funny. I give him credit for it. He took a video and scrolled up, and he did PB. This is on X, and he did at PB Sports Talk LeBron James. And obviously, when you do that, it filters all of the LeBron James, comments. And there's probably, okay, I'll say hundreds. It's probably in 500, 400, 500, some, I don't know the exact number, but there's a lot. And he's taking a video of the screen and he's scrolling through it all. He doesn't agree with my point of view. And he says, if he retires like you're saying he should, what will you talk about? I was a little bit impressed by what he did. I'm not going to lie. That was pretty cool. But very easily, I will have so much to talk about. There's never anything to not talk about in the world of sports, and it appeals to the whole world, which is one of the reasons why I did this in the first place. Is it's a global, it's a nationwide, and it's a global passion for people to watch and follow sports. So to not talk about this guy ever again, I'm totally good with. But we got to talk about it because it's still at the forefront of people's minds. He unfortunately is still at the forefront of news, and so let's talk about this here for a moment. This is so incredible. And, the internet, again, I never thought I would follow social media. I always followed it, but I never thought I would have to follow it at this level. I have to watch everything and on every platform because you get different things in different platforms. I got notifications coming out of my ear holes. It's non-freaking stopping, this and that, and this news and all this, that. And I just think that the roost has come home. And Mark Walters now owns, I believe it's 76 or 77% of the Lakers after he took on another 45 or 46%. He's the majority owner. He owns the Los Angeles Dodgers and other sports entities. And I think he made a decision, because he's in control now, that they were moving on from LeBron James. This wasn't announced until I believe yesterday. LeBron James was not even notified about the ownership change. Apparently he didn't even know about it. They told Luka and they didn't tell him. He opted into his deal. The Lakers haven't responded to that deal. LeBron tried to play, his normal arrogant self and said, I'm committed to winning and I want to keep my options open. Basically, I'm going to go look around and I'm going to see what the interest is for me. And I think he's done that. And I think it's been a resounding thump that nobody wants to give up core assets of their team for an aging, more than aging. He's 40 years old. And some people say, oh, he could still do some things, but it's everything that comes with it, guys and gals. They don't want to take that on. And why would you? He's 40, almost 41. Why would you give up core assets? People are talking about Dallas. Why doesn't Dallas give up these pieces? Why would Dallas give up these pieces? You built something by exiting Luka out. You have Jason Kidd, who's a terrific coach. Nico Harrison, by the way, is a terrific general manager. Dude took all the heat in the world for getting rid of Luka. I'm all over social media talking about that I thought that was the right move. And I think it's a horrible move by the Lakers. I said it then and I say it now. He's not the guy to build your franchise around, not as a number one guy and that, hey, come follow me. I got this alpha male, LA, take on the spotlight. He doesn't have the makeup for that. He's a second guy, a third guy, which is okay. It doesn't mean a bad thing, but you can't build an entire franchise around him. That's just my opinion, based on a lot of experience and based on his mentality in the events of the most recent past and what he's shown us discipline-wise, conditioning-wise. And his personality is not such to do that. You've got to be vocal. You've got to be a leader in every aspect. Anyhow, they turned it over to him, and they've pulled it away from LeBron. So early, I believe it was early in the week, maybe last weekend, because he can't do it any other way, he's got to put it out there. He's on a golf cart. He is in Cleveland, and he has a hat on, and it says, welcome home. And, if you follow it closely, you're thinking, all right, there's a meaning behind everything he does and a reason why he does what he does, because he cannot function without the attention. It's literally the fuel that drives him every day is the glory and attention. And what about LeBron? He can't live without it. Unlike so many stars that came before him that actually shunned away from it a lot. They knew they had it, but they didn't need to flaunt it every day. And it was later reported that he was in Cleveland's gym and working out with youngsters and was at the Cleveland golf course and had the hat welcome home. And so Cleveland has responded. Dan Gilbert has responded and said, well, the team has said, whether it's a leaked report or an intentional report, we have interest, but only in a buyout situation. So a buyout situation just simply means that the Lakers have to basically assume all of the money. The Cavs would not have to give up any. Cavs, not Mavs. The Cavs would not have to give up anything, and they can bring him in for the veteran minimum. Now, wouldn't that be a slap in his face? He don't need the money. He's a billionaire, and he's signing options on 52, 53 million, but he says he wants to win. You got all the money in the world. The guys like Jordan, and back in that day, the most Jordan ever made was 30 million in a year, and it was his last year. Jordan didn't make any money for many of significance. And by comparison to today's, he didn't make a lot of money on the court. He made all his money off the court. The money wasn't in the game then like it is now. And so, dude, taking 52, 53 million, if you were so serious about winning, give up some of your money, show them you're serious about winning, shut your trap, and let them go get the guys they need without going way over the cap and into the luxury tax. But he's not willing to do that. So I don't know. Is he going to be willing to take on a veteran minimum? I don't know. That doesn't seem in his nature, but we'll see what he does. But the temperature around the league is that not a whole lot of people want him, and if they do, they want him under certain conditions. But I would say, in following Dan Gilbert's career as the owner of the Cavs and spent a little bit of time working for Dan Gilbert and knowing the way that he is, he might just do this. And it would be the third time on the team. Like, I just, if you want to destroy a legacy, do what he's doing. And then him and Kevin Durant on the show with Steve Nash, which just shocks me. Why Steve Nash would do this, I don't know. Maybe you get the ratings, but it's like Kevin Durant gets up there and he makes fun of Michael Jordan for leaving basketball and playing baseball. And I guess he skipped the part where Michael Jordan's father was murdered and that his dad always wanted him to play baseball. There's that school of thought. There's the other school of thought that there maybe was some gambling involved and he was asked to step away to let it clear. But we can debate that another day. But he was loyal to the same team. Even went to the baseball team in the city. He didn't need to go on this tour. You know, Luke said to me yesterday. He said, LeBron came in humble, and then he became something different. And I think that's why you don't like him. And I say yes, and I say no. Ever since the Jim Gray special, it's like everything had to be about him. It had to be this spectacle. And in doing so, he embarrassed himself, his legacy, the game, those before him. And I just think that this is a circus show that people have to follow and talk about. But he's lost so much in doing it this way. And I just think, Mark Walter said, not going to happen. Super, super successful businessman. You understand what this guy's baggage is. You understand what his age is. You understand what his attitude is. You understand what the line item for money is. And it's just time. And then somebody said on X last night, why would you throw away 2 years of Luka's prime by getting rid of LeBron? And people overestimate his value on the team. He's a defensive liability. All the baggage that comes with him, all the fame and fandom that comes with him, it takes away, folks. He's 3-13 in his last 16 playoff games. He won 8 years with the team. He won a championship in a bubble. Call it whatever you want. There's an asterisk there. He hasn't gotten them over the hump, and he was much closer to his prime 8 and 7 and 6 years ago, folks. It's just done, and they're tired of him. It is time to move on, and I truly can't wait to move on from him. It cannot come soon enough to answer dude's question yesterday. What will I talk about? A lot. All right. So we're going to skip over to Miss Angel Reese. Talk about somebody else that gets them in trouble by what they say and how they act, but's making a ton of money and believes that they've accomplished what they needed to accomplish. I'm pretty outspoken about this topic too. And again, she's at the forefront and the controversy and was named to be or picked to be on what is it, NBA 2026 on the cover. And it's like, so I said, all right, I gotta run a poll. I actually ran a couple, and I don't have the other one here. And this is a small amount. If I looked, it would probably be 100 votes right now. But on the screen here, folks, I ran this poll. There's been a lot of Angel Reese controversy today. It says 1 day ago, but it's 2 days ago, I think, was the announcement. So I'd like to create a poll and get honesty here. This is only based on her basketball skill set, nothing else. Not her attitude or the way she acts, only her skills as it relates to the league. Where does she fit in terms of her ranking in the entire league? So is she in the top 25%, top 50, top 75, or not a threat at all? 71 votes. Take a look at the screen there. That's public. It's out there. You know, anyone could vote on it. And if you want to look at, and it's interesting that it's 71 votes because I was in a debate yesterday, I think it was on X, and I said, I really truly believe that 8 out of 10 people dislike her, the way that she acts on the court, not as a person in her personal life, whatever. We don't know about that. This is only about, how she plays. And this was skill in terms of the league and where and how does she rank. And then there's the part of where of how she acts is something separate. So this one was about basketball. The 8 out of 10 that I said is in terms of the way she acts. I think that she has an 80% of the public does not like her. A, because she doesn't really have game, and B, because of the way she acts. C, she was put on the cover of that game is for no other reason than the obvious. And I'm not even going to get into it. I don't want to get into it. It's exhausting. But she's not worthy of the cover of that game based on skill. That's proven in that she's a reserve on the All-Star team. How could you be a reserve on an All-Star team and be on the front cover of a major video game? I do this every day. This is how people feel. There's a segment that supports her, but the overwhelming majority do not support her as a player. And I have clips up there that will blow your mind from a player's perspective, from a coach's perspective. Oh, now she's got 6 double-doubles, and oh my God, she's improved, and oh, this and that. Look, I'm telling you, as a longtime coach, there has been some improvement. Yes. Yes. There's a little bit more effort. You can see it. She is doing some work. However, if you look closely through a coach's lens, you will see that there's flaws all over on the court. And somebody made a great point the other day on YouTube and said she just looks uncomfortable. It's like somebody who was very, very uncoordinated, trying to be coordinated on the fly, but somebody decided to make you a pro athlete. So I took what he said, and then I just put that together now because I think that makes a lot of sense. Everything about her is in terms, again, we're talking about player, is unconventional. Her release, her form, her dribbling, her running, her maneuvering, the way the fluidity or lack thereof in terms of the way she moves is different. It's different, and it's kind of clunky. It's kind of clumsy. You can all see the clip on YouTube. It's got, I don't know, 50, 60,000 views, maybe more now, and where she tries to take the key, takes the ball up at the top of the key, isolating at 35 feet, waving everybody off. And she's going to go do a one-on-one move, which she has no reason in the world. There isn't even the ability to do that out 32, 35 feet. You're not going to break somebody down. I mean, you have to have the ability to do that. Instead, She bounces the ball and lets it bounce, and she starts wiping her hands like, get ready for this. And social media went ablaze about she got the ball stolen, it went the other way for a layup to end the quarter. And then what I'm looking at is not only that, but I'm looking at, did she hustle to get back? And she's half-assing it to get back because she's probably embarrassed, and she's showing what the true side of her is. And I see that, it infuriates me. And obviously, the numbers don't lie. Only 7% of the people think she's in the top 25%. That's not good. 24% think she's in the top 50%. 14, top 75, and 55% believe she's not a threat or she's basically irrelevant. And she's being boosted by the league because they want Caitlin Clark and they want Angel Reese. That's why, folks. It is an ability. There are 24 girls that are black that play the same position that are 100% more deserving than her. But it's her attitude, and they're trying to make a rivalry in a game that does not have much popularity, that does right now, is blowing the popularity, has been completely botched, completely mishandled, and this is a desperation attempt. Then again, that 2K covers probably was decided long ago, so maybe it was before we saw how the referees and what they allowed, and this whole you could almost call it targeting. I never seen. It's like you got a great pizza that's got amazing ingredients and everybody loves it, and they can't get enough of it, and they won't stop buying it and telling everybody about it. And then you suddenly come in at 2 a.m. and you go change the sauce and the cheese and the pepperoni, and then somebody tries it the next day and it sucks. Right? It's cooked wrong. It's doughy. It doesn't taste good. That's what's happened to the WNBA. It's like you can't make it up how badly this has been botched. Like I'm astute in business, right? I follow different businesses, and you watch very rarely. Like it takes years and years, and I guess it's been years, 27, 28 years for the league. But when you get a moment, when you get that moment, or that person, or that idea, or that, tidal wave of holy shit, it's coming together, and then you go resist it. I'm getting uptight here because it's just, I still can't believe it. Your golden goose brought all the eyes in. And again, I'm not just, the average fan at home just watching this myself. It's basically more than 1,000 comments of people that contact me a week now with all sorts of different opinion. And I can tell you more than 90% of the opinion is, this has been blown. I can't believe it. These refs should be fired. How could the league do this? Nobody was watching. Now everybody's watching, and then you blow it. And I've been talking about this for weeks. And it's like you still can't figure it out. They are still screwing it up. It's like how there has not been some massive cleansing of officials, cleansing of the way things are done, to show the people that you just lost that, hey, come back, which is hard to do. 10X, talked about it last week. You get the people's hard enough, you lose them, it's 10X as hard to get them back. They come in you want the man's eye, and I'm telling you, the majority of these people, there are some ladies, no question, some ladies. I love CC, I love Sophie, I love Lexi. You hear all that type of stuff. And the things that they do in the community, they love it. It's really caught wildfire. The Fever are tremendous marketers. Nothing but the most unbelievable props to them and what they've done. It's really, really awesome. Again, from a business perspective, just really done the right way. But the league had an issue with Caitlin Clark and the popularity, and how they didn't harness that and leverage that. They did it to an extent, but they've kind of botched it. And this is part of it. People don't support this. They just don't support this. And forget it. Let's just, again, put her attitude aside. In the comments, they're in the dozens, if not hundreds, about the WNBA is underskilled. And I made a clip the other day, and it went bonkers, where there's circus music in the background and nobody can handle the ball and everybody's stumbling over each other. And somebody says, that's why I don't watch. How is this professional? And then I go in and I defend it and I say, come on, guys, this happens in football, football follies. It happens in baseball. It happens in every sport. People are quick to knock it because it's never had quality across the board, across all the teams, across the league. It's never had it. It still doesn't have it. And now they're adding teams to it, which is going to further dilute it. So you had an opportunity to really get the whole world excited from a fan perspective. And then all the young girls in our world, I want to grow up and be like Caitlin Clark. Let me go apply myself. Maybe they're 13 and they just suddenly it clicks. Don't turn the people away. That is your pipeline. That is your future. Expansion teams in 5 years and 6 years and 7 years. That's the person that you need to get really skilled, like Paige Brookers, to get really, really skilled and come and just, this is a generational type talent. And that girl, she's legit. Paige is legit. That girl has a Kyrie Irving type of handle. She's smooth. She's fluid. She's smart. Massive basketball IQ. As a rookie, she's just doing it. I mean, that is, you put her on the cover. And again, I don't care what color she is. I care about her game. She could be black doing that. I don't give a damn. Alia Boston is 10 times the player Angel Reese is, and she's black. Basically plays the same position. I put her on the cover 10 times before I put Angel Reese on. So this is just another example of a botch job. And don't think that the WNBA does not have input on it. 100%. 100%. It's an NBA game. So yes, 100% it is. So just really comical as to how this whole thing's been handled. And it's kind of embarrassing, if I'm being honest. All right, enough of that. Another guy who does it the right way, Aiden Huthcinson. Again, I take full responsibility. That's another thing you're going to hear me say. I ain't going to say it. No, I told you so. If I was wrong, I didn't think that he would. Full disclosure, I did not think that his game would equate to the NFL out of Michigan. And holy shit, was I wrong? I was totally wrong. I missed that one, and I missed it badly. And if I'm being honest with everybody, I'm being honest with myself, it was probably because of Jim Harbaugh more than it was because of Aiden Huthcinson, because Harbaugh turned me off and I kind of turned away from the program a little bit. And in doing so, I probably overlooked watching at him. In fact, I didn't watch a lot of games after it got too out of hand. And so I own that. And I'm a bandwagoner on Aiden Huthcinson. I admit that too. I'll call it that. What a freaking guy. What a freaking worker. I mean, just, you want to talk about building your franchise or rebuilding your franchise around someone or a group of guys. He's been nothing short of spectacular in that regard. Again, log on to FPB Sports Talk and you'll see Luke get absolutely drilled in high school, where you could see the form, what we see Aiden Huthcinson do at the professional level, where he scooped down and he got the shoulder right in the, kind of the mid sternum area, and how he carries through. And I think he drove him to the ground. That's 2017, I believe it was. So maybe the driving the quarterback to the ground rule hadn't taken effect yet, but it's classic Aiden Huthcinson, and it's prior to the Lions. It's really cool. Check it out at PB Sports Talk on YouTube. It's in a short, and you can see it. It's one of the highest performing ranking ones. I think he had 12 or 13,000 views this morning, and it's growing at like 1,500 a day. So the way that the guy has just evolved and what he's turned into, and then again, you got to root for a guy like that. And then the injury last year, just devastating, where your leg just snaps like that. And now he's coming back, and everything is on schedule, it looks like. And the Lions just picked up the club option for his 5th year, his rookie deal, 4 years there, club option in the 5th, unrestricted free agent in the 27 season. You could see there in the blue highlighted UFA. But they're working on a long-term deal, and just really happy as a huge Lions fan, to know that this guy, that the team wants to lock him up, that he wants to be here. A little bit different story than Tarek Skubal, huh? I mean, Tarek Skubal is Tariq Tarek. Some people call him different, but Skubal is I don't think he's overwhelmingly making it known he wants to be in Detroit, which is, you know, everybody's entitled to it. But I think Aiden Huthcinson wants to be here. He wants to hold the whole franchise on his back. You know, Skubal's a little bit older than Hutchinson, but it's an interesting dynamic right across the street they play. And one I think handles it a little bit differently than the other. And, you know, Scott Boras has got a lot to do with that. It's just the way he operates, max money, and sometimes it doesn't matter. The loyalty doesn't matter in terms of what team the players he represents are. It's more of how much money they can get. And I understand the business side of it. You want to get the money, but, you know, loyalty does mean something. And Aiden shows that, and he looks like a guy who wants to be here for 10, 12, 14 years, however long it can go. And man, it's good to see Brad Holmes all over that. They've been responsible. You know, Trey Hendrickson, whether it was Trey Hendrickson or Myles Garrett or Max Crosby, or now more recently TJ Watt. Maybe he's going to leave Pittsburgh, maybe he's not. I would take any one of those guys on the opposite side, but those are all $40-45 million guys. And if you look at his salary here, and I had to put this up, it's like $705,000 his base, right? He's got signing bonus money, but just in terms of the yearly salary, 705 to 870 to 985 to 1.1 million, and then it jacks up to 19 million. And again, he's got signing bonus money there, which is where the real number is. It's, what is that, 20, 21, 22, about 24, 25 million in a signing bonus up front. So it's a nice deal of whatever, 40 guaranteed at sign, 35.7 looks like. 4 years and 35 million. You know, now he's going to be in that $45 million range as top three. I think we can safely say top three at the position. You have to have a conversation about TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, him, Hendrickson, 17 and a half sacks back-to-back years. Hard to not have him in the conversation. A couple other guys. But in terms of who's trending up, I think he's got the upside to be better than each and every one of them. TJ's getting up there a little bit in years. Trey's up there a little bit in years. Myles is 29 off the top of my head. And I think Aiden has not peaked. I think he can go further, and excited to see the continued evolution of Aiden, and love the Lions for doing that. So congrats to him on getting that taken care of. And that's not done yet, but it's expected to be done real soon. All right. So I'm back over here and I touched on a little bit of it. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but obviously you see Caitlin Clark there is at the forefront in the graphic there. In the bottom right-hand corner, you see her coach, Stephanie Harris, who I think is Stephanie White. I got the wrong name up there. Who I believe really needs to be in the hot seat, or on the hot seat. She definitely, as a team, they snapped out of it last night. They were 9-10. They won in a blowout, bounce back game after getting blown out, and hell of a response. And she was in the locker room and she was whooping it up and talking about what a heck of a rebound that was. And so no question that they did that, but there are some issues there that I think have shown themselves. And I love her energy, and I love some of the things about her as a coach, but I don't know, why did it take you so long to get Lexi Hall back into the starting lineup? Why did it take you so long to be able to put the team in the position for Sophie Cunningham to get like 16-8, I think she had, and she was lighting it up? There is a synergy, there is a chemistry, there is a rotational aspect to any sport, like hockey as an example, with line changes, line 1, 2, 3, 4. And when you place them on the ice or on the court, football's a little bit different. It's usually the same personnel, but it's a different formation. But in this case, there's five on the floor. Who you put, who you start, at what times of the game do you run your rotation, who you're mixing with somebody versus the other, against what team, against what matchup. And I think she's um underwhelming as a coach a little bit in that aspect, in that she's let some games get away, and where she's lining up Caitlin Clark on the floor, Caitlin needs to have the ball in her hands more at the top and let her decide. She is pretty much the female equivalent of a Magic Johnson type of style. Those are big words, but she has basically X-ray vision. She understands the game 2 and 3 moves before the move happens. So she can anticipate where somebody's going and dissect the coverage there and the defense and where the gaps are. And she can distribute and get the ball there. And then when you possess the ability, some people say she doesn't have enough handle and can't get to the rim. That's bullshit. She can get to the rim, number one. She can get to the rim and do a step back. She can get close to the rim and get a foul and go knock her free throws down. But the dual aspect of, you have to guard her. So think of Steph Curry for a moment. The ilk of Steph Curry, the ability to handle the ball, the ability to distribute, the ability to shoot from anywhere, the ability to break down the defender and penetrate kick, or penetrate and finish, or get to the line, is all there. It's a uniqueness to her game that you can't ignore it, and it needs to happen a lot more. Why does everybody think that Jason Kidd said he's going to put Cooper Flagg at the point? He said, I want to make him uncomfortable. I want to make him learn, because he knows the guy's ability. The guy can break you down, his size, he can see over. In his case, he's 6'9", he's taller than the average point guard. I mean, Caitlin is 6 foot, maybe getting close to 6'1", but I think more 6 foot in a league that averages 6'3". So she can't see over all of them like a Cooper Flagg can see over generally who's defending him, but she can see the whole floor. And she could diagnose the what and the where. And there, again, at PB Sports Talk on the YouTube channel, you'll see an enormous amount of shorts where she's hitting cutters and she's backdoor passing and she's kicking. And it's just got to happen more. And I think Stephanie has dropped the ball there. No pun intended. This team should not be 10-10. I understand she's been out 9-10 games. She's only played half the season, folks, which is kind of crazy when you break it down that way. Just about half the season she's missed, and she was limping around last night, not fully healthy. There's no doubt about it, but you're already halfway through the season, and the clock's ticking. So she's probably forcing it a little bit. And if I was her in that, I wouldn't play in the All-Star game. A growing injury is a lot like a calf injury. You saw it with Halliburton. It can snap the Achilles, and a growing, man, it goes from being a strain to a pull fast. And a strain growing is painful enough. Understanding the movements in basketball, and I got to say this because Luke and I did something a couple of weeks ago on injuries. Folks, the body is not designed to do what sports players do. It's just not. You do the training, you do the rehab, you do the advancement and adaptation for your body, but it's not designed to torque like that. The stopping, the cutting, the pounding, right? That's a wood floor, right? It's got spring underneath, and you have shoes on designed to give you a little bit of cushion, but your joints are doing things that we were not created to do. I mean, I'll argue with anybody. I'll argue with a physical therapist for the rest of my life. The body is not designed to do what they do. So when you get, and Luke talked about this, there's a difference between being injured and there's a difference between being hurt. And I think she's probably right in between the two right now, in between injured and in between hurt, and she's pushing it. And, Jason Whitlock, because he just always got to be, create something that's not there. He was like, oh, she's probably taking a mental break. No, she's not taking a mental break, bro. You don't take a mental break for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. And you watched her get up from the sidelines to cheer one time. You saw her face grimace because that's a freaking painful injury. It's a lot like a rib injury in that almost every move you make, you can feel it. It don't matter if it's a guy or a girl. This is very, very painful. And to the degree at which she injured it, it's never disclosed. We're never told the whole story. She knows it. Internally, the training staff, coaching staff, management, ownership, they know what it is. But she's pushing it a little bit right now. So I understand why maybe Stephanie would limit her a little bit, but prior to the injury, she wasn't doing it either. And if you're going to put her on the floor, and you've decided that she's healthy enough to play, then you got to put her in the position. That's a group decision, and it's part, mostly Caitlin's decision, but it's a group decision. It's the future of your franchise. It's the league, if you ask me right now. You got to keep her healthy. She shouldn't play in the All-Star game. Why would you even risk it? You're fighting, you're going to try. You won the Commissioner's Cup, which she didn't play in. You want to take the rest of the season and get yourself in position to win, the granddaddy of them all. Don't mess with it. And that's the type of thing that can, linger and last for, all the way the rest of the year and into the postseason. Tough to manage that, tough to decide when. You could re-aggravate it. It's that gnawing thing. It's probably going to follow her the rest of the year, no matter what level. But Stephanie is definitely on the hot seat, and they better come out next game and duplicate this. Lexi Hall, and I said it before the game started yesterday, and then Sophie went off. You have to get more out of them in Lexi Hall. You just can't take 3 shots a game. Can't take 2, 3, 4 is what she normally. She's like going to rebound, assist, and she did a great play. Again, I have a reel up there at PB Sports Talk on YouTube where she kind of breaks down the defender. She kicks it to Caitlin in the corner, side pocket 3, but she dished the ball and then screened in the same time. So she's a heady player on the court, and she definitely serves that purpose where she's multidimensional that way, but she's got to be more assertive and not as much of a deferral player on the floor. And if she does that, I hope you're listening, Lexi. Yeah, like she's listening to me. You girls got to be more assertive, more aggressive. Don't hesitate to take a shot if it's quality and it's there. The team will be better for it. So we'll see what happens with that, but she should not be playing in the All-Star game, period. We'll see what she decides. All right. In closing on the show here is this topic here. The Commanders changed from the Washington Redskins, which is really unique. Why it's just crazy how the whole thing happened and went down. The chiefs of the tribes came out and were very vocal that they didn't have a problem with it. Okay, the actual tribes and chiefs said they don't have a problem with it. Okay, the Kansas City Chiefs didn't change their name. The Atlanta Braves didn't change their name, but the Washington Redskins did. And the Washington Redskins changed their name because they bent a knee to the public that put pressure on them and said that it was a racial component and it was this whole shouldn't be doing it. And this movement took over and changed the name, and they rebranded the entire franchise to the Commanders. Bullshit. And now they're starting to talk about changing it back, and it's gaining a little bit of traction. The fans, I think, in overwhelming majority, probably north of 85%. I saw one metric that said something in that range. So we'll say, 80 to 85% believe that it should be back. This whole movement has kind of passed on. No one's going to take it offensively, including the people who thought that particular group was going to take it offensively. Doesn't. 90% of the folks in that group have confirmed that. Change it from the Commanders back to the Redskins and let the guy there on the left of the screen, Jaden Daniels, who I said in 2024, again, you could go, got to give it another plug. You can go to my YouTube channel at PB Sports Talk, go back to 2024 when I did a pre-draft preview right before the draft, like 2 days before the draft. And I said Jaden Daniels would be the best quarterback in that draft. And yes, more than Caleb Williams. And yes, he showed it last year. And I think he's going to continue. What a great leader. What a great guy to build around. And what a great guy to go back to the team that was so famous as one of the most well-known names of like the Raiders category, the Steelers category, the Cowboys category is the Redskins. Put it back. Bring it back. You kept the logo in some instances. Go back. Commanders, you're nice. Go away. And number 17 on the screen there, if I'm a Redskins fans, holler for the Redskin fans, get him signed. Figure it out. Defer some money, whatever you got to do. Don't break up this tandem. It's a special dynamic. It's a special 1-2. It obviously only has 1 year of proof, but they were in the way that they, again, back to the word evolve and evolution, the way they started and the way they finished, it's a dynamic duo. Don't screw with it. Take care of him. You know, the argument is bring Brandon Ayuk in and let Terry go. Look at, I'm a big Ayuk guy. I think he's a terrific player, but you already have what you need, and you already have a year history. And apparently they're very close. These two are very close. Now, Ayuk and Jaden Daniels apparently are very close too. But all right, we don't always get to work with our best friends. We don't always get to play with our best friends. I think Terry and Jaden got something going, and I just would hate to see them tear this apart. So hopefully that happens soon. So just a couple final closing thoughts here is, again, a major thank you to everybody supporting the PB Sports Talk platform. I'm touched, honestly. I woke up and I saw 50 more subscribers. That happened from the time I went to bed to the time I woke up. That is a big thanks to all of you. Something's resonating. I'm happy about that. I want to keep you in the platform. I want to grow it together with you. This is as much about all of you as it is about me. Without you, there is no me. And that's the truth. It could be me in this microphone, and I could be talking to the walls in the room that I am in. It means everything to me to have your support. It's why I did this. I've always been a person about the people. It's much more about all of you than it is about me. And I truly mean that. And I'm sincere about it, in that none of this is possible without you. And, I had a lot of question. I discussed it a lot with my wife, if I'm being honest, if this was even something that I wanted to do, that I would do. And anybody that knows me, I don't get into anything lightly. If I'm going to get into something, it has to be all of me, or I'm going to check. I'm not going to do it. And they're not going to check out. I'm just not going to do it. Whether it was coaching, whether it was a particular business, whether it's sports, whether it's this, whatever I get involved in, I got to take it to the nth, or I just decide I'm not going to do it. But there was question about, hey, could I do this? And, producing your own show, creating your own graphics, being the host, putting it all together, marketing it, answering all the comments, designing the logo, designing the show, going through all of the sound troubles. And there's constant breakdowns in that way. It always seems like when you go live, last week was a debacle as far as we were getting power surges and the screen kept going out. Thankfully, it's gone on without a hitch today. There's all of that. And it's a lot, folks. It's a lot of work, which I signed up for. But when you see something go 25, 50, and it's small, I'm small time. Hopefully one day when something jumps 25 or 50 subscribers, I'll look and say, hey, remember those days? Look at it, went up 200 overnight, or look, it went up over 2,000 a night. Like, that's where I'm heading. That's where the goal is. But as it's 41 weeks, and it's really 46, I had to take 5 weeks away to handle some business matters. And this is 41 weeks. And I continue to be inspired, and I continue to want to push forward. And if you're noticing, you're seeing more elevated and enhanced graphics. You're seeing a wider, diverse platform and a much deeper commitment to YouTube. You're seeing a Luke joining the group, and that dynamic. None of this would be taking place if I didn't see that there was some growth there, some traction, some interest. And so, I ask that all of you, continue to support. Please share it with somebody. Please follow on X at PB Sports Talk. Please follow and like on Facebook at PB Sports Talk. And of course, YouTube. YouTube, I'll just give it to you straight. YouTube and X are the two main focuses. So on YouTube at PB Sports Talk, join the channel. And there's stuff going up every day. There's generally 5 to 7 reels are going up. Any breaking news will go up there. Any announcements will go up there. Tuesday's announcement will go up there. I'm not sure it will be in recorded format or live. It will go up there. It will for sure go up on X. Facebook, it kind of comes a little bit later, if I'm being honest. So those are the two main platforms. If you have not subscribed or followed, please do so on there. And please, if you wouldn't mind, share the link. And I'll just give you one more little sneak peek. Coaches or players, coaches, and parents. What's coming is really something that doesn't exist out there. I'm going to merge a number of things together with Luke's help, and we're going to bring something to you that I hope makes a massive difference in youth sports all the way up, not just for the player, not just for the coach, but for the parents. There is a reel or a short that I have up that has hit 200,000 views. And the comments are about 100 a day just on this reel. It's just nonstop. It's taken on a life of its own. And it's a player stomping another player on the floor, stomps his head on the floor, and the kid immediately goes unconscious. There's something that needs to change in youth sports. I coached it for a very long time. Some of the damage that was being done, some of the direction that was being done, some of the authority that was taken away from coaches because of the pressure by administrations and superintendents and parents led to that. And it's lost a lot of good coaches, and it continues to do that. And if I can affect one family or one team or one segment of the country, then I believe that that's been a success. And I aim to do that. I have taken this on as something that I really, really want to make a difference. I know Luke feels the same way. And together in this new platform is going to be for the sports fan. Absolutely. 100%. It's going to be for the sports fan, but it's going to be for the player. It's going to be for the coaches, and it's going to be for the parents. And I emphasize the parents because, folks, that's where it's going to change. It's not going to change from somebody who's 13, 14 years old on their own. Regardless of what background, regardless of what community, regardless of what state, what sport, it's got to come in the household. And I'm going to help you folks understand, not from a parenting perspective, but what I can tell you from a coach, what I can tell you from the public, what is happening, kind of why it's happening, how it can be changed, and how it's in the best interest of the young man or woman, and how it will make a difference. So really excited to share all of that. Again, that will release on Tuesday, probably about noon, either live and recorded or recorded format. I will have a recording that explains it in great detail, how you can get involved, how you can help make a difference, folks, because together we're stronger than just me or just me and Luke. Yes, I have a large platform now that's going out to hundreds of thousands of people, but without, a lot of people really, really pushing for it and helping make a difference, it won't hit like it needs to. And so I ask for your help like that, with that, and look forward to you joining on Tuesday for that. So everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy. I say it every week. I'll try to always remember, hug someone, hold someone, love someone. Life is truly short. Thanks for joining live. And if you see this unrecorded, thanks again for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.